everybody, it's Irene with BrainStormAcres, and obviously I'm down in the studio again. And today my goal is to make a bunch of toiletry sets. Now what, you may ask, is a toiletry set? The answer in this case is this. Now, as recently as the 1950s or 60s, I would say, any decent female in the United States would have owned a toiletry set. And in the United States, it would have consisted of a hairbrush, a comb, a mirror, at least, as an absolute minimum. And then sometimes there were other bits and pieces that went around it. And I remember as a small child, one of my aunts gave me a toiletry set, which consisted of all kinds of fingernail clippers and, you know, all the sort of stuff that you'd use for basic maintenance, you know, back before things that all became electronic and stuff, and you went to shops for everything. You actually took care of your own nails, so you'd have a buffer and you'd have, you know, all that sort of stuff. And that's not exactly what we're talking about here. The type of toiletry set I'm talking about consists of a pair of tweezers, a fingernail cleaner and or toothpick, and an ear spoon for removing earwax. Now these were popularized during Roman times, throughout most of the Roman Empire. And if you've ever looked at a map of the Roman Empire, that is pretty much most of Western Europe, as far east as, let's see, Anatolia was part of it, so Turkey, as far east as Turkey. And as far north as parts of Germany, at least southern Germany. So yeah, a good chunk of Europe was exposed to the concept of having a toiletry set. Now, Roman toiletry sets often were fancier than this. They would also include makeup brushes and some other odd bits and pieces. But this particular type here is common among Anglo-Saxons and Vikings. And any respectable Viking woman would have had one for sure, and probably a lot of the Viking men too. The women would have worn them in public on a chain or a string or something on their brooches. Anglo-Saxon women usually wore them on something off of their belt, and the men would have generally carried it in a pouch. Sanitation was an important concept to the Vikings. In fact, we actually have quotes from some of the English/Anglo-Saxon folks of the time that complain about the fact that when the Vikings arrived, the women preferred them because they were just such terrible people. They washed their hair at least once a week. They changed their clothes once or twice a week. They bathed on a regular basis. How disgusting could this be? Well, there are those of us who would say perhaps it was the Anglo-Saxons that could have used a little schooling on appropriate sanitation. But at any rate, I sell these. This one happens to be sterling silver. And what I need to do is I need to make a bunch today that are bronze or brass. So I'm going to go into my stock of metal. I'm going to fish some metal sheet up, and I'm going to start producing these guys. Now, we always joke about the fact that when I make these, I make them in a Ford factory fashion. In other words, I will cut a whole set of strips of the metal for making the tweezers, and I'll cut a bunch of pieces of wire for making the toothpicks, and then I'll cut a bunch of pieces of wire of sheeting for the ear spoons, and then I'll just work on whatever's working for me that day, because it's a fairly complex process, and some days it just doesn't go well. So if you find, for instance, that you're having a great day of making spoons, you may just continue making spoons for a while. The toothpicks are never much of an issue. They're just a straight piece of metal that's been sharpened, so that's not a big deal. The fussiest thing is actually the ear spoons. They either go well or they don't. The tweezers are pretty systematic in the way that they work, so yeah, that's pretty much use a standard cutting and, you know, framing up sort of thing. So let's get started. Ideally, I will make at least 6 of these today. I also have a custom order that I need to finish. I had planned to have it done for Friday of last week, no, Monday of this week rather, but it didn't happen. And part of the problem is I'm selling stuff along the way, so I'm actually kind of losing ground on some of the stuff. And I'm really glad I'm selling stuff, but it's still frustrating to lose ground. So, yeah. Okay, I need to go get metal. I shall return. Okay, well, I started to get my metal together, and I realized that I was doing something that some people might have never seen before. So what I've done is I've just pulled some of the stuff here out of tumbler, which is full of a special type of soapy water. And it's all shiny now. I'm going to give it a quick rinse in distilled water. Because I don't want that soapiness to stay on there. And it's going into the vibratory tumbler. You see, this is all nice and shiny now. And this is going to dry it. What I did was I had some chains that I had made a while ago, which had gotten tarnished from sitting around. And it was time to get them all clean and shiny again, and ready to be put back in service as parts of something else. Now, I'm also going to pull a couple of things over here that accidentally got misplaced. These are some castings of bodkins that were accidentally misplaced the other day and therefore did not get their shininess fixed to any extent at all. So I'm going to run these again. Some of these have been run before, some of them haven't been run at all. And I'm just going to keep tumbling these because these still need to be polished before I go. And ground and sharpened and all those other things too. So I'm going to let them go back in here in this puddle of soapy water and get cleaned up. And I'm letting this machine do the work while I am doing something else. I cleverly managed to spill water all over, which happens sometimes. So I'm going to stop that up. Try and keep this area pretty together. And some of the time I manage. There we go. Trash. Okay, now I haven't emptied this one yet. I don't actually remember everything that's in here, but I think it's an assortment of stuff. And it is. There's some Anglo-Saxon clasps. And this, by the way, is one of those funny Anglo-Saxon things that they like to incorporate things into their jewelry. So that's actually a face if you look at it. We have 2 eyeballs and 2 eyebrows. It's a Viking brooch. You wear 2 of them like this on your clothes to hold your dress together. Who else is in here? There's a Tudor hook. That's cast from an original. I own 2 of those originals, one from Great Britain and one from the Netherlands. And they came from the same mold, which is always cool.